If you're somebody who struggles to mentally focus at work or at school, if you find yourself not being able to stay mentally focused on the purpose of a workout and to be able to persevere through that workout, you might be surprised what's behind that. We'll take a look at it in this video. At the time of this recording, I've been a physiologist for over 30 years. And one of the things that has kind of come full circle is the eating of food. If you go back and you look at the early 80s, it was you eat 3 square meals a day, and that's the best way to eat. Then we get into the 90s and everything is about eating small meals and just grazing every couple hours. They got into the idea that that would keep the insulin spike, that would keep your pancreas from overproducing insulin and avoid all these big energy spikes and crashes. Then we move into the 2000s and now there's this novel idea, hey, instead of grazing, which is considered very, very healthy and low stress on the body, people have spun the truth and now they say eating at any time is stressful, so go hours without eating or go days without eating. So what I always find humorous is how can something that used to be an ideal is now considered not ideal? And before you leave a bunch of comments here below, I researched this extensively. It's part of my job every single day. What I think is interesting is if you were to look at how the athletes are fed at the Olympic Training Center, the best athletes in the world that are under no motivation except to get the most out of their human body, you will not see the propaganda that you see on the internet today. And that's what I think is so interesting about this subject that came in. Why can't I mentally focus? School, work. Why am I not able to finish a workout? And it's simply because you're not eating enough calories. Now, I am more than happy to have an adult conversation with anybody. You can engage with me here in the comments here below on YouTube. I'm all about having an open conversation, but we have to set the context. Unfortunately, especially when it comes to nutrition nowadays, anybody can take a nugget and extrapolate it out of context and then spin it out of context to create confusion. I understand. There's days that getting up in the morning and not eating breakfast and going and doing a 90-minute bike ride or a 60-minute run or a 1-hour swim is going to burn more stored body fat. I agree with that. But what needs to be taken into consideration is how rested are you? What is your overall stress levels in the human body? If you're going through a divorce, filing for bankruptcy, and have to put your elderly parent in a nursing home, probably not a good idea to put your body under more stress, i.e. not feeding it and going and exercising. Please keep everything in context. Don't take everything that you read as the gospel, put it in context. So now, if we come back to the idea, why are you not able to focus? Your body has 2 gas tanks. When it comes to the ability to deliver energy, your brain has its own gas tank, your liver, and your muscles, they are their own gas tank for movement. When you eat an edible carbohydrate, it gets converted into stored sugar known as glycogen, and that is the preferred fuel source when it comes to movement and thinking. So stop and think about this. If you've gone more than 2 or 3 hours and those gas tanks are getting burnt up, right? You're at a big project at school, you're at a big project at work, you've got a difficult workout. If you don't have enough gas in the tank, if you put it in absolute mechanical terms, you've got enough gas to go 10 miles, but you're trying to go 20. You're going to run out of gas. If it's in mechanical terms, nobody would argue. But yet when it comes to physiology, you have people that will complain about the inability to finish a workout or the inability to stay focused. And the answer sits right on your Garmin dashboard. One of the beautiful things with Garmin is they've set the dashboard up where you can interact with MyFitnessPal against your calorie burn rate. When you look at what you've burnt versus what you've taken in, try to keep that gap no more than 100, 150 calories per day and watch what happens to your ability to focus. Watch what happens to the productivity of your workouts. Watch how much easier life becomes. Give the body what it needs. So when we start to look at the physiology side of it, what I find very humorous is the idea that if we try to treat an 18-month-old child the way that we treat ourselves as an adult, we would be laughed out of the room. So for example, if you have a young child that's 18 months old, 24 months old, and they haven't had a nap and they haven't been fed, nobody would be surprised that that child is unbearable. They're going to be very cranky, short-tempered. Well, we're no different. We just look at it as, oh, we can't mentally focus. We are struggling to finish the workouts. Feed yourself. Start there. Now, when we say feed yourself, keep it very simple. Walk into the grocery store and only shop the perimeter of the store. Fruits, vegetables, dairy, meat products. You've got all the different combinations necessary. We say in generic terms, every time you open your mouth, have a fruit, a vegetable, and a lean protein. When someone says strip a food group out, tell them to go screw themselves. Every item in the grocery store is filled with micro and macronutrients that your body desperately needs. It's what's evident when you get your blood results, right? You're getting a panel of all these micronutrients. Where do they come from? They come from the food that you eat. So unless you've been proven to have an adverse reaction to a particular food, everything should be fair game. Learn how to combine your food so that you lower the glycemic index. I could do an entire video on that, and I won't go down that bunny trail here today. But what I do want you to understand is if you're mentally struggling, please take a look at your calorie burn rate. I've been down this road. I've had this argument now for 30 years where it's gone from eat 3 square meals to eat every 3 hours to intermittent fasting to not eating every 3 days. It's hogwash. And yes, I've read all the research. I understand how the body adapts. I understand all the different stages. I understand the hormones. Show me one person on this side of the camera that is rested and well-fed and well-hydrated enough to put their body under that kind of duress, and I'm willing to have a conversation with you. But like I said, after doing this for over 30 years, I've never had one person that ever eats enough and gets enough sleep to put any undue stress on the body. So why starve yourself? Keep the calorie gap relatively minimal. Keep your foods high quality fruits, vegetables, and lean protein, also known as low glycemic, and you'll be surprised how well you feel. Sure, you can go on an intermittent fasting diet and you're going to lose all this weight, and I've been down this path a million times, and they always come back and say the same thing. It worked for a while. Well, that's called adaptation. That's when your body will continue to adapt to try to survive, but there's a stark contrast between surviving versus thriving. All of my clients are super lean, super strong, and super fast. If we find that they can't drop body fat, we go and we look at their hormones, and sure enough, their hormones aren't firing properly. We have to work on that side of the equation. But I can promise you that intermittent fasting and eating every couple days and all this other nonsense is only adding up on the stress scale, which is having a negative impact on your ability to mentally focus on a daily basis. I hope this video answered all your questions. However, if you have a question rather, please feel free to send it to me. contact@coachrob.com. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch. We do put out a video each and every day answering your questions that you send in. So please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.